How's it going, everybody? Give me 1 second to get everything straight. All right, and if you guys can see the chat box, put a 1 in the chat box if you can hear me okay. All right. Appreciate that. Seems we're good. And can you see, put a 2 if you can see my screen okay. All right, good deal. I think we're ready to rock and roll. We'll wait a few minutes for everybody to pile in. Let me check some settings. Like I said, we'll wait a couple more minutes for. Looks like a lot of people are still piling on, so we'll wait a few more seconds. All right, so again, this is Jamie Randall, Restoration Marketing Group, and thanks for joining us today. We're going to go over your 2019 Internet Marketing Plan. I mean, this is kind of late in the game, but then again, not, right? Q1 is basically coming to an end as we speak. So we're going to go over a few things, learn how to maximize your lead flow using the latest internet strategies of what's working now in 2019. As we all know now, it's changing on a daily basis these days. So it's important to stay on top of things. So here's a few things we're going to cover. We're going to just kind of take a step back. I think a lot of us, we kind of get caught up in the day-to-day, right? You guys are checking on technicians, hiring more technicians, dropping off equipment, answering the phone. Everybody gets busy. I think it's important to step back and really take a look at, what are your targets to hit each month. Then we're going to take a look at the 3 fundamental steps to marketing success. We're going to take a look at a couple website conversion techniques. And we're also going to take a look, just step back and look at the big picture from an online marketing standpoint. We know, there's many aspects and many avenues that, you can do these days. So we're going to take a look at, some of the most important ones. We're going to look at some of the latest trends we're starting to see in 2019. Then we're going to kind of, take a step back and help you guys come up with a custom action plan of kind of what you're doing now that's working, and then kind of what you need to do moving forward to hit your goals. And look, just a little housekeeping. We're all busy, but time is important for all of us. So just silence your phones, grab a pen and paper. And if you're damage restoration business owner, or you're handle the marketing, just give me your full attention. I'm going to try to keep this closer to 60 minutes. I know we all got places to be and things to do, but I think this will really help you guys move forward and finish 2019 strong. And I got a little surprise for you guys. If you stay till the end, I'm going to share a link with you and give you. We have a checklist with what you should be doing and implementing in your damage restoration business, whether it's water, fire, or mold. I'm going to share that with you guys in the chat box, and so you can download it and use it as you need to. So real quick, I don't really, this isn't about me, it's more about you guys, but just in case some of you don't know who I am, I do travel around doing speaking on internet marketing and marketing in general for restoration companies. Went to Clemson University. Go Tigers. I'll throw a little side note in there about that. We're actually good at football now, which is kind of weird to me. But so construction science and management was my degree, and then grew up in construction since I was little. Working summers, general contracting, residential, commercial, heating and air, and then I kind of transitioned into specializing in water, fire, and mold as time went on, and that's what I've been doing. And that's kind of that's all we do. I mean, this is just some of our clients we've been working with. Damage restoration it's all we do. We don't even take on clients for anybody else because this is our niche. So as we step back here, and a lot of you people are probably here with me today. I mean, what's the hardest part about damage restoration marketing online? Like, a lot of people don't really understand where to start. So this is one of our clients. He kind of came to us, kind of the same thing. He kind of got the ball rolling, but he knew he needed to take it to the next level. So the question we're all stepping back asking, we need, where do I get the jobs from? We know we can talk to insurance agents, property managers, homeowners associations, but an important aspect these days is 97% of consumers look online before buying locally. 97. I mean, that is crazy. It might be a little different in our industry because of the whole insurance agency thing. If somebody's house floods, they might call their insurance agent first. But I can tell you this: I've got a couple friends that own insurance agencies, and obviously they, if anybody has a problem, they call me. And the amount of calls I get from him versus internet, I mean, it might be a couple calls every 6 months, and that's on a good day. So I mean, definitely the trend is moving online more and more. So the next question is, so all right, we know we need to be on the internet. So how do we dominate the internet? And I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. There's two key aspects, right? You need to rank on the search engines and in Google Maps for your water, mold, and fire damage related keywords, right? It kind of seems obvious, but a lot of companies we see aren't even paying any attention to it. And then you also need a website that's built to convert. Not just any website, but you want a website that turns the traffic into callers, which leads into jobs, more jobs for you guys. So this is just just to kind of show you, this is what happens. I mean, once you start taking a comprehensive approach on this, then you can start showing up on page one and in the free pack, and we're seeing a lot of call volume. These are still most calls are still coming through these two areas right now, is what we're seeing and the data showing us. So like I just mentioned, I mean, they kind of partnered up with us, and they took like a comprehensive approach to get the Google My Business, SEO, online reviews. I mean, all these tie together these days too, right? Google likes to see you taking a comprehensive approach, to kind of, obviously their algorithm can kind of read it and connect the dots, to simplify it. And it's just showing, I mean, what the end result is. We all want the phone to ring, right? More leads, more jobs. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you're ranking, paid ads, I mean, the end result is phone calls, and we realize that, and that's why we track it, right? So as you can see here, I mean, here's 63 leads in the past 30 days. I mean, that's not bad in the water industry. I mean, as you know, we're in a lower volume industry, right, compared to carpet cleaning, example. But so just think about that as we go through this presentation today. What would that mean for your business, and what steps you need to do moving forward to take your restoration business to the next level. So we're going to dive in and start going through this. Let me make sure you guys can see the full screen, and we're going to talk about how can we maximize our lead flow. So step one, set clear goals. I mean, I know we all hear this, set goals, you should be doing it, but you'd be surprised on how many companies and even as individuals, right, we need to know where we are and where we're going. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of Brian Tracy, but I'm a fan, and he says success is goals, all else is commentary, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't know where you're going, then and you'll end up in no man's land, basically. So, man, my screen keeps technical difficulties. This is live, so there might be some hiccups. I don't know why the screen sizes keep adjusting, but so once you have clear goals, I mean, what does that mean, right? You got wind in your sails. You're going from point A to point B. You're not going to get lost at sea, for a bad metaphor for you guys. And there is a Harvard study done in 1979 that 84% did not have goals, 13% had goals but had not written them down, 3% had clear written goals and a plan to accomplish them. And look at the results. The 13% of the class who had goals were earning, on average, twice as much as the 84% who had no goals. And even more staggering, the 3% who had clear written goals were earning, on average, 10 times as the other 97% put together. I don't know, that's kind of crazy. You wouldn't think it'd be that off, but so if you guys don't get anything from the webinar today, write down your goals, and I'd actually recommend writing them down daily. That's just a little side note, but to write down your goals is extremely powerful. It might seem stupid, but as you can see, the studies don't lie. So, as we're finishing up Q1 this year, I mean, good if you didn't set any goals at the beginning of the new year, now's a good time to kind of revisit where you are and what you want to accomplish in Q2, Q3, and Q4 moving forward, and then that kind of reverse engineer that into monthly and weekly goals on how many leads you want to get for your business, how much revenue you want to do, and then maybe pick a time on your calendar, because we all get busy, right, going to job sites, this and that. I put a reminder on your calendar. Next week is the 31st, Monday, I believe. So you can set a reminder in your calendar. Hey, let's review the goals, see if we're on track or not for accomplishing our goals in 2019. So I kind of touched on this, but what's your revenue target? How much is that monthly? How many calls will that require? And what is your average transaction value? I mean, from a water perspective, it's most of our partners is anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000, depending on the market you're in. But it looks like the average is typically around $3,500 for water damage jobs is what we're seeing. So here's an example. If you want to do 1.5 this year, then you break that down, and it's $125,000 a month. And then if your average transaction value is $3,500, we'll just use water damage jobs for now. You need 35 jobs per month. I mean, you could even divide that by 30, right? It'd be just over one a day, basically. It's what you need to hit your goal of 1.5 a month. So, I mean, you can keep it simple like this too, and that way you can always refer back to it, as you need to. And then, also you need to think about your average conversion rate from caller to book job. And then you divide, the call target by your conversion rate to kind of what we're doing is we're backing into how many leads you guys need, right? So here's an example. Let's just say 70% of leads, you can book those in the jobs. I mean, that's kind of the low end. We see most of the time it's, the good thing is we're an emergency niche, right? Most of the time people need help. They need it quick. So 80-90% should be the closing rate, in my opinion. That's kind of what we're seeing with a lot of our clients. But, we use 70% for this. So if you need 35 jobs a month, you divide by 0.7. So 50 leads a month would be the target, right? If you want to do 125,000 a month to hit your annual goal of 1.5 million. So hopefully you guys wrote some of that down just to kind of keep an eye on it. So your focus, if you back up and reverse engineer this, 50 leads a month should be is what you're thinking, every 50 leads a month, and then the numbers should kind of pan out as you go on. But so every day, I need 50 leads a month. You can divide that by 30 to break it down to how many you need per day, because that's more of in your control, right? Versus the other numbers, But you can always work on your conversion rate too as you go. Handling the calls a little better. We noticed some people. I mean, they're smooth on the phone. You can tell they have sales background. Some of our clients, we joke with them. I'm like, man, how many beers did you drink before you before you answered that call? Because it didn't go so well. But you can always improve the conversion rate too. So it's just something to think about. So take a couple minutes, write down. If you haven't already, just write down your target number of leads per month, and your especially at a minimum, I would at least get Q2 dialed in, since we're about to roll into Q2 next week. So let's move on. So now that we've got our goals in place, we need to think about our marketing message and what we're actually putting out there. So we're just going to kind of go high level on this, and we're going to look at the fundamentals, right? The market, your who is your ideal customer, the what, what are you going to tell them when you get in front of them, and then the media aspect, how are you going to get that message to them? So something we don't, we all kind of, like I said, we all get busy in our day to day, but sometimes it's helpful to step back and go, all right, who is my ideal customer? And that way you can put your ads, your company, yourself in front of where your ideal customer is going to be. Another way of, in the marketing world, this is, customer avatar. You can kind of create your ideal customer on paper, right? And that way you can kind of just map it out. And that way, again, you have a clear target of where you're going. So, this is kind of an example that I wanted to work through with you guys. I mean, you can break it down to demographics. This will be different for some of you guys based on where you are located, in the country. The demographics vary, obviously. I mean, and you guys know, it varies by zip code, neighborhoods. I mean, we know we have clients like, obviously, the demographics of a higher end neighborhood would be a lot bigger job than other areas. So it's just things to think about, as you're putting your marketing plan in place. What are their pains and frustrations? The toilet overflowed, they got mold on the walls, they had a fire in the kitchen, they can't get a restoration company to answer the phone. Hopefully that's not the case for any of us, right? We're in a 24/7 industry, so hopefully somebody picks up the phone, but I do see that happen as well. But they need to get their water leak resolved. They're too busy to deal with insurance. It's a pain and frustration they have. They're worried the situation of the house could get unhealthy for the family, as far as the mold goes. So there's just kind of a couple examples to think about. So what are some of the fears and implications they might think? They don't want to get ripped off or overcharged. They're paying too much for something they could have somebody else do elsewhere. Everybody knows a handyman down the street, but they always try to get involved when they shouldn't. But, getting mold, if the home is not dried out properly, that's something that, to keep in mind. And for a selling standpoint from you guys, that's something great to mention on the phone. Sometimes people are a little hesitant, like, oh, I don't need, I'll do it myself. Well, what a lot of the guys that are good on the phone, we see them just roll into it, if you don't do it properly, you're going to have mold, they're going to get sick, allergies. You can kind of just inform the customer of the implications that can happen if they don't do the job properly. And then just some of the goals and desires of this customer avatar, right? They want to get the leak fixed if it was a leak. They just want to get this behind them. They want to get their home in like new condition quickly, right? Speed or time is of the essence in our industry, right? They don't want to have to go stay in a hotel for a month while you guys get their home back to where it needs to be. They just want peace of mind that everything was handled, they paid the fair price, and they just want to be satisfied. And there's this little saying, if you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. As corny as that sounds, there's truth to it, right? So if you try to think from their perspective, where would you go? What would you do if your house flooded? We have a bias. Since we know the industry, I feel like we kind of have a biased, viewpoint. So sometimes it's kind of nice to, step back and just, if you didn't know anything about restoration, where would you go? What would you do? I mean, this just made me think of this as a side note. I mean, a lot of people, they don't even know restoration companies exist. I've heard the phone calls. I mean, they're calling like, hey, are you a plumber? No, we're not, but what's your issue, ma'am? Well, my basement's flooded. Like, what I mean? So they just happen to call the plumber first, just because they don't even know, like, who restoration companies are. So just things to keep in mind. Just to, think from a homeowner's perspective sometimes when you're trying to put, your who together. So the next piece would be the message, right? So now that we know who our customer avatar is, we need to develop the message to put in front of them. So if you guys did happen to grab if you have your phone, you take notes on your phone, or if you got a pen and pad, a couple of things you could kind of note down as we're talking through this. Why would someone choose to do business with you versus the competition? I mean, it's kind of important. I mean, this is a dog eat dog industry we're in. It's extremely competitive, right? So you have to separate yourself. Why should they call you versus the other restoration companies that are always getting tossed around and trying to get the business, right? And then think about what benefits do you offer that'll resonate with them. Again, what separates you from the competition? So I just threw a couple things on here that we see and that we test that seem to work pretty well. Same day service, 24/7 service, emergency services. And that's just another way of letting them know. I mean, you're going to, they want somebody fast. They want to be helped as quick as possible, right? Free estimates. A lot of people want, everybody wants everything free these days, right? So free estimates is a good trigger to get them to pick up the phone. Satisfaction guaranteed. And hopefully most companies are offering that because everybody wants to take care of the customers at the end of the day. And then, certified technicians, people will just want to know that the staff and the people actually coming into their home are certified, right? And that they can trust them. A lot of people are, most of us are pretty funny about who comes to our houses. So it's always, good to let them know that you have, certified technicians on staff and they'll be there to help you quickly. Here's a couple other things too. 60-minute response time, free estimates. Again, I mentioned that. Technicians on call 24/7. IRCRC certified technicians. Great service guaranteed. So there's just a few things, to get your wheels turning. You can make notes of. Just make sure all your messaging. I would put these. You can kind of play off these too. But this is a good starting point for you guys to go from. So we've got the who, we've got the what. So now we need to roll into the how. And before, we'll take a quick little pause. Make sure if you guys are still taking notes from previously while I scroll. Take a few notes of the message real quick, and then we're going to move into. Apparently, I can't spell, but this is supposed to say make sure your hub converts, right? We got the who, we got the what, so now we need to know how, right? How do we convert our ideal client and message into, a customer? So, I mean, the website ends up being the hub to it all. Whether you're doing paid, Google My Business, search engine optimization, everybody wants to look at the website before they do business with anybody. So that's kind of why we look at it as the hub, right? So something to think about, is your website set up to convert visitors to callers? Again, as your website is being designed, built, you need to have in mind, if you were the ordinary homeowner, what would make you pick up the phone and call to get the help you need? So this is just an example site of one of ours. And I mean, honestly, one thing just to know, if you're not doing this, I highly recommend it. As you can see, there's a team photo on there. A lot of these websites we're seeing, and honestly, across the board in all industries, especially restoration, you can tell it's just a template site. It's just, I mean, it looks the same. They all look the same. There's no photos of the owner, no team photos. I mean, it's not really, it just looks like a normal site. So what we're seeing that's really helping and differentiating, our clients is, get some team photos in place. That way they can kind of, relate and connect with, the people. You feel like you know somebody once you see them, and then once you call, I don't know, there's just like a weird subconscious thing there that makes a connection. But I just went through some of this, but just some things to think about. And I'll pause here for a second in case you guys want to write down some of this. Does it speak to your target, avatar? Does it have real authentic images? That's what I just went over. It's extremely important these days. You can even put like a welcome video on your site and have videos for, different services. You could have a video towards water damage, mold, fire. Video is getting more and more popular. Putting your online reviews somewhere. Like we mentioned earlier, remember, 97% of people are going online, right? And then what's the next thing most of us do when we go online? We look at reviews. It's extremely important to have a way to get more and more reviews, then make sure prospects can, see the reviews on the site. That's extremely, extremely important. And then, there's just some basics that, we still see that people are missing, but, you want the phone number in the top right-hand corner. You want to have a web form. Some people don't like to call for whatever reason, right? So you want to have a way where they can email you for help. And then, credibility and authority always helps. Better Business Bureau, Angie's List. If you work with Home Advisor and you have one of their badges. If you're a member of the RIA or IICRC, those little badges you can put on the site, and just, that way you can just seem like an authority in the prospect's eyes. And then obviously you want calls to actions, right? You don't want to have just all this and not tell the prospect what to do. You want to say call now for a free estimate, or, call now 24/7. Call now, we'll be out there in 30 minutes or less, or whatever, your response time is. And something to think about too is, web chat on websites is, kind of trending more now. And so that's just be another way of engaging these prospects and clients. So now that I know we went through that kind of quickly, but if we want to pause, out of all those things I talked about, what are 3 conversion elements that you guys want to get in place? It doesn't have to be tomorrow either, right? It could be just by the end of Q2, I want to have these 3 things implemented in my site. I don't know, I would put, making sure you got calls to action, photos of the company, team photos, and maybe make sure you have some authority in brand building on there as far as the Better Business Bureau and badges and stuff like that. So take a couple minutes, take all that in. I feel like I'm kind of dumping a lot on you guys and moving through this pretty quickly, but so just take a pause real quick. What did you learn? What did you notice about some of those bullets that I had on that previous slide? And then we'll move on. So now that we got the conversion piece in place, we need to know and track KPIs, right? For those of you not familiar with it, it's key performance indicators. If you're doing anything, at the end of the day, you want to be able to measure to see, what the ROI is you're getting, whether it be activity based or, monetary based. You just want to be able to track it. So we'll use the example from earlier. Let's say we got 55 leads, 3,500, average water damage job, give or take some, right? We're using averages. So what does that come out to be? $64 per lead, which, any of you that have been around the restoration industry for a while, that's a extremely good price per lead in this industry. And then you also want to track, where did these leads come from? You don't, the call is going to be coming from all directions, but if you don't track specifically where they're coming from, how do you know to keep doing it, right? If something's working, that's when you put the pedal to the metal, right? Do more of it. So you should kind of keep a pulse on, all right, this 24 calls came from Google Maps, 16 from paid or pay-per-click, and 15 calls came through organic. So then you can kind of just take a high-level view and kind of see, right? All right, this is how many leads, this is how much we spent, and this is our average cost per lead. Then you can try to maximize and optimize month over month to get those numbers better and better. So we've kind of we've covered a lot so far. We've talked about the goals for 2019, especially Q2, Q3, Q4. We've got some clarity around our customer avatar with our market, message, and media, and how we're going to do that. We've talked about website conversion and making sure it's optimized to convert that traffic right into callers, which leads into sales. And then we've just kind of taken a high level view of some basic KPIs we should be tracking to kind of see where everything's coming from. So let's kind of shift this a little bit and start talking about putting a plan in place that you guys can kind of implement and roll out for the rest of the year. So these are a lot of things we kind of recommend that are kind of proven to work and convert right up to now. I mean, there's other things and avenues, but like we mentioned about the KPIs, if it's not converting and leading to revenue, then there might not be a good reason to focus on it at the end of the day. So just think about these things, like, do you have your Google My Business set up, optimized, and are you trying to get it pushed up into the map listings? Do you have a good website it's built to convert? Do you have are you working on, or do you have somebody working on your search engine optimization? I mean, majority of traffic still coming through there. And the maps listings, paid ads, if you run any paid ads, they still work extremely well. And then reputation management and reviews. As you're doing these jobs, you need to have an easy way to gather reviews and then push those to your website or push those to your Google My Business listing, because reviews are actually becoming extremely important. I mean, a lot of people will just look at the maps listings, for example. They'll look at the number of reviews and the review rating, and then boom, pick up the phone. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Think about whenever you go online to search something. That's honestly kind of where I'm starting to trend. I mean, I'm in this business too, right? So I kind of know how it's all worked and mapped out, but I naturally gravitate towards the Google My Business listings with the reviews, right? Because I mean, people let other people know the truth, whether it's a good company or not. So just keep that in mind. Reviews are becoming extremely important. So we're gonna look at a couple key trends in 2019. I'm not sure. A lot of you have probably heard of Google local service ads. They're not. Well, we're gonna get into this, but they're not rolled out in every city yet. But Google is quickly rolling them out, and I'll show you guys what those are if you haven't seen it yet. And Google is also playing with phone conversions. You can actually set things up for text messaging now. We're still looking at this and testing it. And like I said, I don't know. You got to test, right? Just because it's new and it's a trend, I mean, that doesn't mean it works, right? You don't want to waste money on something that's not going to convert. So that is something that Google is rolling out and testing, and we're looking at as well. And then another trend is just to have an all-in approach, right? I mean, a lot of people used to just do SEO or just do paid, but it seems like the people getting the best results are kind of taking a comprehensive approach, from all angles, as far as our online marketing goes, to drive the best results and to get the most momentum moving forward. And this is just an example of what, in the red box, those are the Google local service ads. It's above the paid ads. And like I said, it may or may not be in your city yet, but it's most of the higher population cities. It is there. And I'm hearing a lot of lingo that's getting tossed around. I guess some people are calling it Google Guaranteed, but it's the same thing as Google local service ads. Whenever you apply and sign up for Google local service ads, you automatically apply for the Google Guaranteed. And what that is Google. So you have to qualify to become listed here, right? They do background checks, insurance checks, license checks. I mean, they're pretty serious about it. But with that, you get the Google Guaranteed badge, which I can't remember exactly. It's either 2,000 or 3,000 that Google will back the customer if they're not happy with the results. So this is just a conversion mechanism, right? That, like we talked about earlier, that Google's putting in play to try to draw prospects online into, clicking these ads. I mean, as you can see too, they take up, quite a bit of real estate on top of the page too. So, where is it active? Obviously, you can do a search on your computer to kind of see if it's active in your area or not. I think, a year or two ago, they kind of rolled out in San Francisco first, and then I think New York. They went there a little bit, and they're slowly been connecting the dots, in between. This is kind of what we're seeing. Most high populations, it seems like it has rolled out now, but it's still kind of coming out in the smaller and medium cities. But, every now and then you can kind of just, do a search result in your area, and you'll know whether it's live or not, right? So how does this impact the search results overall? So before the local service ads, there's kind of the big three, right? The big three spots. And now, as you can see, there's Google local service ads, there's Google ads below that. Then you got the, what we call sometimes for short, the 3-pack, the Google Maps listings. And this is the Google My Business goes into the Google Maps listings, which is this 3-pack. About, I think it was 3-4 years ago, there used to be 7 spots here. And then, I think a couple years ago, they scrunched that down to 3. And then you got the organic, website listings below that. So, now there's 3 big spots that you can get into, when searching for keywords related to water, fire, and mold. So just keep that in mind, too, as you think about the rest of 2019. So we have been hearing some, as far as the Google local service ads, because it is still new. We're seeing a lower cost per lead than pay-per-click, higher quality leads than Home Advisor. I'm not here to bash anybody. That's pretty. that seems to be across the board, because we all know at this point Home Advisor leads are shared, so they're not some people make Home Advisor work. Like I said, I'm not here to bash it, but they are shared leads. So these Google local service ads are exclusive leads. And you still get some price shoppers, and you have to follow up quickly. That happens with any. We all hate it, right? But that's just life. It's going to happen. And that's circling back to what I mentioned earlier. That's why it's extremely important to think about what you're saying on the phone when you answer the phone. Even to have a script in place that your technicians or your office people, whoever's answering the phone, you yourself might be answering the phone. Just have a structured process you take the price shoppers through. And actually, side note, I'll go on a tangent real quick. Most of you probably know this, but you do not want to give pricing over the phone if you can avoid it at all costs. Some people will know how much it's going to cost, but like I mentioned earlier, a lot of homeowners don't know this industry, how much it costs. So once you say, oh, I don't know, anywhere from $4 to $6 grand, click, they're going to hang up. So there's this little side note for you. Just, I don't know, man. What we need to get out there as soon as possible. We'll take a look and assess the damage, and we can give you an accurate, free estimate. How's that sound? And then most of them will be like, oh, okay, great. Yeah, come on out at 2 o'clock. So that's just a little side note. And then, back to the Google local service ads. It's still, most people are getting a good ROI, right? It's still new. At the end of the day, as long as you're getting ROI from, what you're implementing, then, you want to keep doing it. So, what should you guys do now regarding this? I would, get with somebody on our team if you'd like, or, you can do it yourselves. You can go to adwords.google.com/local services/sign up, and you can kind of go through the process. You got to get your background checks completed, and your insurance and your business license stuff. They'll require all of that. So they are pretty thorough and serious about this application process, and kind of get tedious, but you guys can probably work your way through it. Put the tracking in place to gauge ROI. Google does put a tracking number in place there, just so you can track the calls. And then you want to be active on it. I'm not logged in, but you can So there's a process where you can mark, like if a call comes through and you book the appointment, there's somewhere in there that you can say appointment booked. And just a side note, like Google shows more love to people that are more active in the platform, because that shows that you're using it, you're trying to leverage it best you can, versus somebody that's just taking the calls and not logging into the dashboard, not doing anything. We're seeing that the rankings are actually, in those 3 spots at the top that we're looking at, that it's easier to get up there if you are active on the platform. So just keep that in mind if you guys get that set up. And this is still rolling out, so just keep this top of mind. If you're in a city where it's not located, just keep this in the back of your mind that when it does roll out, you want to be the first ones in there, because it's already proven to work. And another key, like I mentioned this earlier a little bit, but another trend that we're seeing that's working is just kind of taking an all-in comprehensive approach and just making sure you got everything covered instead of trying to piecemeal it. Everybody's circumstances are different, I get that, right? But ideally, you would like to have your Google My Business in place, like I said, verified, optimized, and somebody working on it, add photos, make sure it's completely filled out. You want to have a good website in place built to convert. You want to have somebody working on your search engine optimization to push it up. Like I said, a lot of traffic still comes through there. Get your paid ads set up, and that includes, regular paid search and Google local service ads. And then, get a reputation management review process in place. Remember, put them on your website, push them towards your Google My Business, and have a way to actively request these reviews from the job sites to get people to leave you a good review. So, what happens when you kind of take a comprehensive approach, for your marketing? And I kind of already showed you this earlier, so I'm not going to sit here going through too much. But, it all rises together, right? It's kind of like I mentioned, they play off of each other. So you get better rankings organically, you're going to get better rankings in the 3-pack. And this is just 63 leads in a month, isn't bad. And this is a higher population city too, right? So there's a lot of variables. The Northeast in the winter is different than Florida. We got hurricanes. California, well, recently got hit with some flooding, but normally it's a little drier. So there's so many variables. But ideally, if you take this comprehensive approach, you're going to get your phone to ring more. So, and that's, I just mentioned that they took the all-in approach, from all different angles, and that's how they were able to get the results they're getting. So if you guys want to take a minute, and if you're still on here with me, I'm going to get you this checklist here at the end. But just pause for a minute, think about some of the things I just went through. Do you already have optimized Google My Business in place? All right, check. I don't have anybody working my SEO. Probably need to get that set up in the next quarter. So just take a minute, make some notes to yourself of some things you're gonna implement. And I kind of had this too. If you don't have to try to do everything at once. You could try to take, pick the top 3, right? What are the 3 things you want to do in 2019? And we're circling back to hit your ultimate goal, whether it be $1.5 million a year, whatever. Everybody's at different stages in the business, but so let's think about the takeaways. What did you learn? What did you notice? If you guys want, you can share in the chat box some things you'd like to share, some aha moments you might have had that you might not have realized. And so we've covered a lot today. We've set goals, how many leads you need to hit your target, the 3 fundamentals to marketing success, how to optimize your website for conversion, and then taking a step back and let's look at the big picture of maximizing your lead flow. We've looked at the latest trends, what's happening now, and what's working, And then, we've developed a custom action plan kind of based on where you are now and what you need to do now to hit those goals we talked about. So now, one thing I've noticed is, I'm going to give you guys the checklist too. A lot of you guys can go implement this yourself. But one thing I've realized is a lot of the owners I've talked to, they're like, Jamie, this is awesome, but I'm too busy, to do this myself. I'm hiring technicians, I'm going to jobs, doing this and that. I'm trying to run my business. Can you help us implement this stuff, for us? And obviously we can. That's what we do. It's what we're good at. So if any of you, like I said, you're more than free to take what I gave you today, run with it, and do what you need to do. But if you'd like to talk with us, on your market and how we can help, give us a call at 855-649-8650, or I'll give you a link to the calendar, and you can go ahead and book an appointment, what we call a lead flow acceleration station. And we can sit down and kind of take a look at what you're doing, where some of the missing pieces might be, and then kind of what we might be able to do to help you get some of these things in place. And I'm going to put this link in the chat box for you guys, because I think that'll be a little easier. So there you go. There's the link. If you should be able to go there if you want to sit down, talk more, like I said, about what's working and what's not. I think that let's see. I think that came through okay. No, actually, there we go. Yep, cool. It came through. So if you guys want to book, there's probably a few slots tomorrow, and then I know there should be plenty next week if you want to sit down and go over some of this. So everybody on here, you stay till the end. So I'm going to give you the link to this checklist that you can take a look at and kind of see. It'll help you, map out the rest of the year and see what you're doing and what you're not. So I'm also going to put this in the chat box. It's a PDF too. You should be able just to download it on your phone or computer. Let's see here. There you go. So there's the, I just put it in a Google Drive folder for you guys. And you should be able to download it there. And again, that's all I have for today. Hope you guys got some value out of that. Like I said, if you want to talk more about this, give our office a call, 855-649-8650, or use this link to get on the calendar, and we can sit down and chat. I think, and that chat is in the chat box. And I'll just make sure if you guys have any questions or anything you want to put in, now's the time. Let's see. Daniel said thanks. David, awesome webinar, great content. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. Joseph, you can tell you specialize working with restoration companies and know the industry. Yeah, we like I said, that's all we work with, Dave. So we try to pick up as much feedback as we can. No problem, Billy. You're welcome. Not able to print out. Cool. You're welcome. Yeah, Valerie, you'll have to. It's a PDF. So if you just download the PDF, you'll have to print it just like a normal file. Is anybody else? Somebody try the link and make sure you guys can get to that PDF for me. You might have to right-click download or something. I think you should be able to get it. Mike, thank you from Safe House Solutions. Mike, do you work with Nancy? I'm assuming you do. Good to see you on here. Good to see you on here. Let's see, Sarah. Can we talk about getting started with you guys? Yeah, absolutely, Sarah. Go to that link and get on the calendar. And we'll take a look at your market and see how we can help for sure. Cool. Did anybody else try the link? I want to make sure you guys can get that. Yeah, you guys should be able to get it fine. It just came right here, and then you would have to click. You'd have to download it, and then you could print it off if you want to do that. But you should. The link seems to be working okay. All right, cool. Michael said he got it, so I think we're good. Sweet. All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. I feel like that was awesome. Appreciate the feedback. Hope you guys got some good nuggets from that. And we're gonna be doing more of these throughout the year. But like I said, if you need help, reach out to us. We'll see what we can do. And yeah, you can cut and paste into the browser, absolutely. And the link's clickable too in the chat box. In mine it is. So it should be clickable for you guys. But yeah, if you just drag over it, right click, copy, and then right click paste into your browser, you should be able to get to it. Cool. John figured it out. Yeah, okay. So hopefully you guys got it. We'll that's it for now. Hope everybody has a good rest of the Thursday afternoon. And we'll like I said, reach out to us if you need help, and we'll see you guys soon. Take care.